Hi there, guys. My name is Josh Olfert. I am the founder and I'm a financial advisor with Haven Wealth Management. Now, you may see or hear me on social media all the time talking about investing and promoting my brand Haven. And the reason I'm so obsessed with it and the reason I want so many people to understand what we're doing is because we are actually doing something radically new and different, something that is a complete it's in complete contrast to the traditional model of financial and investment advice. So today I want to take you through on paper. I'm a visual guy. I love to look at diagrams. I love to look at pictures, and it helps me understand the concepts. So today I want to take you through a drawing, a visual, diagram or infographic of how the traditional investment world works and what we're doing so differently and how it can benefit you significantly more than maybe taking the traditional route. So let's get started. What I want to do first is talk about the traditional model of financial advice. The traditional model, what people typically do. Let's say this is you. This is you. Maybe you're a female and you've got some long hair. Maybe you're a dude and you've got some spiky front hair, kind of like me. Whatever. Let's just say this is you for now, and you have $25,000. For the sake of easy math, let's even go $50,000. You have $50,000 to invest. You're looking to invest that for either retirement or buying a cottage at the lake, maybe buying your first house. We're looking at investing this money somehow. So typically the thing to do is go see a financial advisor. We'll give him a little top hat like the Monopoly man because he knows what he's talking about with finance. And what happens is you decide to engage with this advisor and decide to go into business with him. So we're going to draw an arrow. I'm going to draw arrows to show how the money flows. So your $50,000 then gets transferred to what you may believe is your financial advisor. And we'll talk about how that's not really the case. You may think that your money is with the advisor, but it's being housed somewhere else. So what I'm going to do, here's your financial advisor. You know what he does? He does retirement planning. He does financial planning in terms of budgets and making sure that everything is right financially. So we'll say planning. He makes sure that your taxes are all in line in terms of how your investments are structured. He makes sure that your investment solution is correct for you. He makes sure that it matches you as a person. These are all very important roles. He also helps, do things like paperwork and setup and administration, all those kinds of things. This is the role of the advisor. He's coaching you and he's helping you in terms of these areas of finance or retirement planning and whatever your goal may be. But what is really happening here is your money is flowing somewhere completely different. And let's draw an arrow over here. In reality, your money is going to what's called a dealer firm. So I'm just going to draw a big building. This is the firm, the investment firm that your advisor works under. Now we'll say this is the dealer co. What are these dealer co's? What are they called? Well, for the sake of not being in copyright issues, these are the big investment firms in your town. These are the big banks that you can go to at the branch level to have your investments done. So what's really happening is you are going to your advisor. He is going to help you with all these services. He's going to take you $50,000 and he's going to have it managed through the dealer firm. Let's say that's a bank or some kind of some local investment firm. So what's happening here is the dealer co houses this advisor. He gives them an office space to work in. They provide this advisor, he or she, with support and with staff and administrative, and they help administer your investments in your plan. But the dealer doesn't even manage the investments. You may think that, but it actually gets passed on to another. Well, that's a squiggly arrow, but who cares? The dealer actually passes it on to the fund manager or the investment manager. And these are, Bay Street, Wall Street, those big skyscrapers. We're going to draw some skyscrapers, some big buildings. They're on the ground downtown, maybe give them some windows. The fund managers are the guys at the top of these buildings who are making the investment decisions with your money. So in reality, the dealer co is now putting the $50,000 and they're sending that to the fund manager. So already in this process, your money hasn't even been invested yet. It's already gone through your hands to your advisor's hands, from your advisor to the dealer, from the dealer to the fund manager. So we have a pretty significant and almost confusing process already, but it's not finished. What happens next is your money isn't even invested. The $50,000 is now held at the fund manager's company, but they have to go out and, let's say, build a portfolio of investments for you. And we're going to draw another arrow. And what that's going to do is, oh, that's not a great arrow at all, but I tried my best. So what's going to happen is they're going to build you a portfolio. We can kind of visualize that like a pie, and you've got your money in different types of investments and shares or whatever. So this is your pie, and we can see the performance of that pie of investments. Maybe it looks like this and like that, and over time your money grows in the investments that the fund manager picks for you. So this would be your portfolio. So now let's say we start with 50,000, and our fund manager does a decent job of investing it, and that 50,000 grows to become 55,000. Let's say. These are all hypotheticals, by the way. None of this is guaranteeing returns or talking money, that kind of stuff. We're just using random numbers to model this scenario. So here we have our first step. You go and see your advisor. You're transferring the 50,000 to them because you trust them and you feel like they can do a good job of doing those services. Secondly, that money is then being housed at the dealer, not even housed at the dealer firm. It goes through the dealer firm and towards the fund manager where the money is actually housed. So step 1, advisor. Step 2, dealer. Step 3 is the fund manager, and step 4 is they actually put it into a portfolio for you. Now, I'm hoping this all makes sense, and if you guys have any questions, you can feel free to email me or anything like that. But this is kind of how the traditional model of investing and financial planning works. You've got different roles for different, organizations. So what is a dealer responsible for? We've got kind of the roles of the advisor. Dealer is responsible for really administration, support for their advisors, office space, all that kind of stuff. They also, they're the facilitator, right? So we have we have the advisor, the facilitator, we have the investment manager, and then we have your portfolio. Now to you only have this advisor. That's really what you see. You see the advisor who you relay information to, and he relays information back. And really, for this advisor to know anything, he kind of has to speak with his dealer firm, who then can speak with the fund manager, who then can talk about the portfolio, and then that information is kind of relayed to you. So this is how the traditional model works. Now, this person hasn't even paid a fee yet. They've never cut their advisor a fee. They never cut the dealer company a fee. How does this person pay for this? This whole process isn't for free, right? The process of getting all these services done, the process of administrative support, the process of actually managing a portfolio. None of this stuff is done for free. So how does this work? Well, the financial industry is very cunning, and they come up with a solution where maybe it will be easier to get people to invest if we don't show them directly how they're paying for it. In reality, the fees, this person never cuts their advisor a fee by a check. Rarely. Sometimes they do that, but rarely. What happens is the fee is embedded in the investment portfolio. So let's take a hypothetical. We started with 50,000 and it grew to 55. Okay, that generally makes sense. So let's say now we're going to talk about fees in this area here. We're going to make a little fees section. So we are now at $55,000 after our fund manager invested the money. The average mutual fund fee in Canada is approximately 2.50%. So what's happening is now 2.5% of your 55,000 is going to be deducted. Now I should have done this math beforehand. 2.5% of 55,000 is going to be 1,325. Okay, so sorry, 53625 is going to be what is left. This is what the investor gets at the end of the day. The investor gets 53625 because 2.5% of the overall was deducted. And if you look at that, that is about, what does this equal? That's equal to about 1375, right? So you could punch that in a calculator and confirm that for me. But this is really hypothetical, so it doesn't exactly matter if I'm spot on. 1375. That is the fee that's being deducted for this entire process. To get retirement planning, financial planning, taxes, advice, investment, guidance, all the administration, the paperwork, the dealer, the fund manager, all this process costs quite a bit of money, but you don't see it because at the end of the year, your advisor shows you this number, and they don't really show you this number. They just show you, hey, you got $53,625. Isn't that great? Because we started with 50, and now we're up $3,625. Isn't that great? But in reality, $1,375 of fees was deducted. And I'll give you a breakdown on approximately how much goes to each. The fund manager, the guy up here in his company who is actually directing the investment decisions, is going to get paid approximately $825. That would be about 60 or so percent of that. And the reason he gets paid that is because he is making the investment decisions. They are having to keep up with compliance and rules and regulations and all sorts of things that cost lots of money and lots of people to employ. So for all their investors, they're going to have to take a big piece. So about 825 or 60% goes to the fund manager. Now the remaining 40% will go to the dealer. They'll get 40%, or in this case, that would be about $550. No, that would be 50. We'll just say 550 for now. I know that math doesn't add up. So now what happens is, oh, it does add up. Look at that. Sorry. 550 now is split between the dealer, 50% here, who gets paid for their support, their administration, their facilitation, and the other 50% gets paid to the advisor. Now, how complicated does this process look? It's kind of crazy. We have you invest your money, your advisor helps you with all these services, but they're taking your money and shoveling it to the dealer's shoveling it to the fund manager's investing it, they're charging a fee, the fund manager gets 60%, they get 40%. Out of that 40%, 50% goes to the dealer and 50% goes to the advisor. This seems like kind of a crazy process, and as you can see, it's all pretty much just squiggles and craziness. So this is the traditional model of financial advice, and for the longest time, this made so much sense. You're dividing, I guess, the areas of expertise. This guy's good at dealing with people, this guy's good at being an administrator, this guy's good at picking investments, and by combining the three into this kind of model, you split those three people into the things they're best at, and you get this overall picture. But you do pay a decently pretty penny for it. You're paying $1,400 a year, essentially, just to have your $50,000 managed. You are getting all these services, but at the end of the day, the internet and things like the free press and the way that we can access information these days, people are starting to realize, whoa, these fees are pretty high. And now that nobody's left in the dark anymore, there's a lot of negotiation and talk going on about how can we reduce these fees. So this is the traditional model. This is what's going to happen if you go into your bank branch. This is what's going to happen if you go into your local investment, I guess, firm. And that's kind of the summary. So let's move on a little bit. That's the traditional model. Hopefully you can remember that, and you can always rewind and go back and clarify things there. So in reality, the big lessons are there's a ton of different people involved in this process, and each of them has to take a cut. So where does Haven come into this? Well, Haven really loves this idea. We love dealing with people and understanding how we can help them achieve their goals and how we can invest them properly to get those things in life that they want. So we want to do that in a way that is more friendly to the investor. We care more about them because they're our client. We deal with them directly day to day. The fund manager doesn't deal with this guy. The dealer co doesn't deal with this guy. We deal with this guy. So we really like the idea of servicing this person, making sure they're getting all their stuff, and making sure they're getting good value for the money that they're paying. So just in the way that, I guess, you could say Netflix, I don't want to say outsmarted, the way Netflix overcame Blockbuster because they had superior technology. Amazon has kind of overcome Walmart and big box retail stores because they have better technology. Haven is doing this to the financial industry. And what's happening is me, I don't wear a top hat, I don't even really wear a suit most of the time. What happens is we decided, why don't we see what we can do to remove this and remove this, or at least merge them into one. We can cut out middlemen, use more technology, and make things more efficient. That way the client pays less in fees, and that way they get better service, they're closer to the process, and it's not so complicated. So let's take a look at how we've done that. So we're going to go to this next one. We're going to call this the Haven slide. This is what gets me up in the morning. This is why I'm so excited, because we're doing something that is dramatically new and different, and it's helping people. It's making people's lives significantly better just by choosing to invest with a newer, younger, more technological firm like ours versus the incumbent firms in the industry. So let's go back to you. Here's you again. Okay, we're going to start with kind of the same idea. You want to partner with us for some reason. You like us, you trust us, you like the things we say, maybe you like our model of how we do things. But then let's say, well, for the sake of example, we'll say it's me, it's Josh. Josh has big spiky hair in the front, and right now I've actually decided to grow out a little bit of a mustache, which looks not really cool. But for the sake of illustration, that's me for now. So how is it different? Let's say the same idea. You have $50,000 to invest. And you're going to come, and you and I are going to meet up, and we're going to look into what are your goals? What are your priorities? is retirement an issue for you? Are taxes an issue? Do you want to learn more about investing? Do you want to look at your insurance? All this stuff. We help with all those things. You and I are in partnership. We're in a relationship. And this is what Haven is. It's me and it's you and it's our team, and it's building a relationship with you, and not so much selling you a product into a process. It's taking you through what we believe is an innovative force in the financial industry. So what does ours look like? You and I team up, and we essentially only have one arrow this time. And what we do is we have created strategic partnerships with innovative firms in our industry, some of which are called robo-advisors. And why do they call them robo-advisors? They call them robo-advisors because they're doing the same thing Netflix is doing. They're doing the same thing Amazon is doing. They're using technology to make the process of advisory, financial advisory, cheaper. They're making it easier, and they're making it better for the end guy. That's what technology does. Technology is a fantastic thing for the consumer. It's not always a fantastic thing for the incumbent firms in an industry. But I digress. Moving on. So within here, we have what's called, let's say, this is our robo-advisor. We'll say this is the robo-advisor box. Now, before, when we had an advisor and a dealer and a fund manager and an investment portfolio, what we've done is we've actually taken all of that, the compliance, which is legal and making sure you're up to standards with regulation. There's investment management, which is, the building of the portfolio. There's the administration, the paperwork, all that stuff involved to set the stuff up, registering with the government of Canada, your tax, blah, 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 all that stuff. Now, we pretty much have the dealer co, which does all that stuff. We have the advisor, which is me or Haven. And we have the investment management, the fund co, all in one. And we have your portfolio inside of here, and we have a chart for how that progresses as well. So instead of going from, you, advisor, dealer, fund manager, portfolio, and the communication having to always be this massive string, it's really us and a company and some partners that allow us to go into business and do this. So here's the really cool part. Because they're using robo technology, everything within here is so much cheaper. So let's say, again, we have your chart. You started with 50K, and that grew to 55K, just like our last explanation. We're not even going to assume that we're better investors or that we have better management. We're going to just assume that we're the exact same as everybody else. But what we do have on our side is something pretty fantastic. And it's the idea of using technology to reduce fees in a massive way for our clients. So if you recall before, we had $55,000 at the end of our investment term, and we had to deduct 2.5%, which is the average Canadian investment fee, from the $55,000. Because of this partnership between Haven and Robos, we can do this for a dramatically cheaper price. Instead of 2.5, our smallest clients, our clients who pay the largest fee, pay 1.35% to start. So what does that really equate to? This one I actually did the math on, thank goodness, because that's way harder. This investor instead will end up at 45255, which means that in total, $745 worth of fees were deducted. Now, if you can recall from before, 55,000 minus 2.5 left them with 53,625 and a $1,300 fee or $1,400 fee, whereas our clients are left with 54,255. So a full, almost $1,000 more, and you're saving a ton in fees here. You're saving, I should say about $750 in fees you're saving, and that's every single year on an ongoing basis. So that's pretty significant. Now you may be wondering, okay, so how is this money invested inside of here? Like, do I have to stick with these, robo-advisor? Like, I want a human who's talented at investing, managing my money, not a robot. And that's a fantastic question, and I agree with you 100%. So what we do is we enter into strategic partnerships with very successful fund managers, with very successful investment minds, who are only open to high net worth investors. So here's the crappy little secret about the investment industry. Unless you have $500,000 in cash ready to go, you're probably not going to get access to a very talented investment manager. People who are very talented in this business have the luxury of picking which client they want. And if you can get a client with $500,000, they're going to be much more profitable than a client with $5,000. So the people who have less money pretty much don't get access to the opportunities that the wealthy do. Now, here's the fun part. Because of this model, we have gone to all these firms, let's say ABC, X, Y, Z, and 1, 2, 3, who are only open. These guys don't take money unless it's greater than $500,000. But we've entered into strategic partnerships with them where they've decided we want to be part of this new model, and we are going to help you with the investment side of things. So what we have is we have a model where you come to us, we help you with financial planning. We help you with tax management. We help coach you through the investment process. We help with paperwork and administration and all that, and making sure that our relationship is good and that you trust the investment process. Next, we actually house your money, not in my bank account, not in Haven's bank account. We house the money at a robo-advisor partnership that we've created. And through that, we have access to some seriously talented people who would not really give you the time of day unless you have that kind of money. Now, not only all of this, not only do we have access to these incredibly talented investment managers, we also can do all of it with no minimum and with half the fee, or maybe a little bit more, because some of these guys want to charge on top. They might add another, 0.3%, making your fee 1.65. But that's all just details. I mean, to go from 2.5 at a crappy mutual fund solution at some local firm versus getting a 1 full percent reduction in your fee to get a much better investment solution, a personalized manager, and not only that, this is all digital. We're essentially paperless. As much as this seems like paperless, I'm sorry, it's the best way for me to do this right now. But we are paperless in that to sign on with us, all you need is access to a computer or an iPad. And if you have an iPad, we can set in a meeting, we can set all this stuff up. You never receive paper, you never receive an account statement, it all goes to your email, everything's digital, everything's cheaper, and we have better investment management for our clients. So this is the really fascinating part about Haven. The fascinating part is we are doing clients and the public of Canada a massive service by helping them achieve lower investment fees and higher investment quality. And let's look at a hypothetical here. Let's say you have $25,000 and you want to add another $500 a month, and you're saving for something like retirement. So this is upfront and another $500 a month. And let's say you're 25 years old. A lot of our clients are young. We love dealing with young people as well as old, but due to the nature of our market, we typically deal with millennials. 25 years old, and you're going to retire at 65 years old. Now, this is your situation. $25,000 up front, $500 extra a month. You've got 40 years to invest between here and here. So let's take a hypothetical example. We're going to do this, and we're going to both achieve the same rate of return. We're going to invest aggressively, and we're going to achieve an 8% return. Now, don't quote me on that. Compliance, this is bad. I'm not allowed to guarantee returns. This is not guaranteed. This is just me saying we're going to build a hypothetical model, a hypothetical idea of what happens here. So we're going to achieve 8%. We're going to do it with a 1.35% fee like Haven, and we're going to do it with a 2.5% fee like your neighborhood investment dealer or your bank branch. Now, what does this person end up with 40 years later when they have a 1.35% fee? Well, if you do a compound interest calculation, you will see that it comes out to 1,496,088. This person ends up with $1.5 million by investing with a low fee. Now, had that person gone into a large bank or a local investment dealer or mutual fund dealer, what would they have achieved with a 2.5% fee? At age 65, 40 years later, they end up with 1,077,546. And if you'd like to know how I did these calculations, it's as easy as going to an online compound interest calculator. You can Google that and stick these numbers in. 8% is your return minus a 2% fee minus a 1.35% fee, and then use $500 a month, $25,000 up front, and for 40 years you'll get these same numbers. So what you can see here is you're losing about $400,000 over the course of your life to investment fees. Canada has the highest investment fees in the world, and the investment management isn't great. We've got a handful of firms that do a fantastic job, but most of them are large banks and big incumbent firms who are more concerned about keeping their job than necessarily managing the money in the most ideal way. So this is the Haven model. And what it really brings to the table is that it's significantly cheaper. We don't even have to have better investment management just by the fact that we're almost half as cheap. This is our fee, this is their fee. Just by virtue of us being so cheap, we can achieve better results over the long term and get you to your goals quicker. Second of all is that we have straight up the best investment management. because we have access to these firms that wouldn't give you the time of day, and we can do it because of our model. So best investment management. Third, totally digital. You don't have to sign 8 pieces of paperwork every time you want to change how much you're investing. If you want to make a withdrawal or a deposit, we don't have to go run to your house, get an ink signature, and, you know, the old model, I want to make a change to my investments. I have to sign a physical copy with this guy. This guy has to go and send it to the fund manager, and he has to send it to the dealer, and he has to keep one for his own records. Everything here is digital. Everything here is easy. Your reporting goes to your email. It's just so much. It's so much better. And this is why I'm obsessed with Haven. This is why I'm obsessed with our business model. And if you want to be part of this revolution and in creating a more user-friendly, consumer-friendly way of investing, you should join us, and you should join the team that we have here and what we have going. Last thing, because of the increased efficiency, we have a business model that has higher margins, more profit. So what we can do is Haven has committed to what I would call a tithe. 10% of our revenue every single year, not profit, 10% of our revenue every single year gets reinvested into the community. We don't donate to Canadian registered charities, nonprofit organizations to try to make the community better and give back to the community that supports us. So we give. And you can know that we're probably one of the only financial firms that every dollar that gets spent with us or on our services, 10% of that is going to do good things and create a positive change in the community. So this is the Haven model. You can see how it's a little bit different. If you have any questions, please ask. You can email me at Josh, Josh, at investwithhaven.com, or you can even text me 1-204-291-6508. So feel free to get in contact with me. I'd love to talk more about this process or just talk about any general questions you have about investing and how it all works. But for now, I think that's a long enough video. Thank you so much for tuning in, and hopefully I'll do this again sometime if you guys have questions or something, concerns, curiosities about how the investment process works. I can take you through that and help explain it. So thank you so much again, and I will talk to you soon.